Muncie.
I know you're in Muncie.
Oh, some additive way guy's house. It's like in Haverstraw. It's like Gullus. It's so far away. I think it's out of the Tchum from the rest of Muncie. It's 1 or 2 exits past Skver.
Yeah, that's my daughter lives in.
She lives in Haverstraw?
The exit is called Haverstraw. Sure, exit 13.
Yeah,
yeah, but this one is like on the outskirts of Haverstraw. This guy has a minion in his house. That's the
New Square is 11, and this is 2 exit past 13. That's 2 exits.
Where does she daven, your daughter?
In somebody's house.
Yeah,
in Pomona. Yeah.
I don't know if this is Pomona or Haverstraw. Ich weiß nicht.
They had there's 10 shuls and houses there. There's no regular shuls.
Ah, I hear. Okay.
Oh,
so
no, I shouldn't say that. There's one. Yeah, no, when I'm there, when I stay over Shabbos Sunday morning, I
forgot the name of this fellow that has the minion in his shul, in his house. I mean, the way we walk is we cross over a fence and through a field. Isn't there a poet like that? Is that through a fence, around a field, down another fence, and then we end up in this guy's house.
Yeah.
My wife told me it's Berenstein Bears.
Oh, that's who it is? Okay, very good. That's Zapakis.
Yeah.
Very good. By me, I see it. By me, it's the same way I remember the Gemaras. I remember Ep is something, but that's about it. Anyways, all right, let's go. We're up to Toshima. Bottom of Tzadi Beis, Amud Beis, on the 4 lines up from the bottom. So we have this Machlaikis, Rav and Shmuel. If we go Basra Roiv by finances, right? According to meaning, if a guy sells seeds he sells seeds, or the Gemara, the Mishnah really says he sells fruit, right? So he sells fruit to a fellow, and the guy tries to plant it, and they don't go anywhere. So can he get back his money? So Rav says it's a mekach tois because we go Basra Roiv, right? And Shmuel says I'm sorry, I'm tying that into the Mishnah. We're going to get to that tonight, whether that ties into the Mishnah. But Rav and Shmuel are having the machlokes about somebody who sells a cow to somebody, and the cow ends up being a wild man or a wild cow. So the seller's saying, "I thought you were buying it to shecht it, so I didn't have to tell you that it had ADHD." And the buyer says, "No, I was buying it to plow, so now I don't have a good cow." So that's their machlokes. So Rav says it's a mekach tois because we go Basra Roiv, and Roiv people buy cows or oxen to plow with. And Shmuel says we don't go with Roiv by money. We go with Roiv by Isser. Like Isser v'heter, we go with Roiv, but not by money. That's machlokes Rav and Shmuel. So now the Gemara is going through different rayas and kashas. So Toshima, 3 lines up now from the bottom. If a guy sells an evet to his friend, and he's either a ganav or a kubustus. So it's a machlokes Rashbam and Taisus what a kubustus is. So kubustus is gainav nefashos, a kidnapper, right? And Taisus says he gambles. Right, even though Tosfos really quotes Rashi, is a guy known to Nefashos, right? And it's interesting. Rabbeinu Chananel. So Tosfos quotes Rabbeinu Chananel. He calls it a Masachah B'Kuvya, a gambler. So that means he's an addicted gambler. I'm saying, what's wrong if your Eved is a gambler? Does a gambler, by definition, mean he's addicted?
Probably not trustworthy at that point, and he'll probably steal.
You're saying, so this is a raya that gambling is asur al geneva?
I mean, isn't that the reason why? Because it's a smachta lekanya and you're stealing?
According to some, yeah.
Right.
Only according to Tosfos.
Well no.
Tosfos, right? According to the Rashbam, you could be a gambler.
What?
Well, according to the Rashbam, you could be a gambler.
Right.
Just according to Tosfos.
No, Tosfos is Rashbam say that Rashbam is not commenting about gambling. He's saying that a kubustis is a kidnapper. Tosfos is saying he's a gambler, but means if he's a gambler, so there's got to be something wrong with that, right? So I guess like Akiva is saying by definition. Yeah. Now at 8:21 tonight, I got a text about a guy who lost 10 grand gambling. And
That's not so much, Yaakov.
I know,
there's
but
a lot worse.
I don't even understand the question. They're asking, he says, to get him back on his feet, they said if the friends get together, give him 10 grand that he owes in gambling, he swears he'll never gamble again. Can they give him Meiser money?
Is the guy on the daf and he knew you were going to be on the daf 8 minutes later?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who the person is that texted me.
Why aren't you allowed to Tom help him?
I didn't even think about it until we started discussing the Tosfos. Then it just popped into my head. What?
Why can't you help him either way, even if he goes back to it? He's annoying.
Well, I think that would, if he's an addicted gambler, like Tyson is obviously saying that a gambler is bad, right?
Unless he's going to take that money to be a gambler, why do you have to worry about what he's going
If
to
he's
do?
addicted, he will.
I think some accountability might be in order.
No, I'm saying, let's say you give it straight to the person. You don't give it to the person. You give it to the whoever he owes it to.
Yeah,
Of
there's
course,
no
yeah. They're not
accountability.
going to give it to the person. You're not going to give it to the guy.
So I'm saying, so then
They
why,
wanted to know. They wanted to know it's Meiser.
why wouldn't he be considered an honey?
That's why I asked. He said they
How
asked.
do you know he's an? How do you know he's an onion?
Oh, very good, Rabban. Very good.
What are you making up stories? You're making up cases from a whole cloth. How do you know?
Right.
If he needs help, then
No,
he
so here
must
was
be-
what the guy. This was part of the question. He says, "Can we use Meiser even though he's not an oni?" So I asked him. If he's not an oni, so why isn't he paying it back?
Right.
So I don't know. But either way, the guy spelled oni aleph nun yud. So maybe I'm misreading what the guy. Right.
Probably
I
just
don't
some type of money laundering situation.
Who knows? But anyway, so Tosfos. Okay, so obviously Tosfos is holding that a gambler is enough that the Gemara would entertain that it's a mekach tois. That if you sell an eved to a guy and the eved is a gambler, it's according to Tosfos, it's at least a machlokes whether that's a mekach tois.
So I have 2 points. First of all, we know gambling is no good because it's a Mishnah, it's an Hedron, right? With your apostle Edis, no? Misachel Kovia.
Yeah,
Stop.
so the Gemara gives two. The Gemara
So
gives
over
two
here,
reasons to it.
so over here, I would assume, the Ritva explains a little more that he borrows money from people and then he racks up debt, and then I'm assuming whatever money he has, Mashakana Kavaraba, he's using his master's money, so he's just gambling it away. Maybe that's the toast. That's what I would assume, no? Because he doesn't have money. Eved doesn't have his own money.
Do you think he's going to automatically steal?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Ritva says, that he borrows from people and gambles it away, and then he racks up debt.
Who lends money to an eved? What does that mean?
I don't know, Kasha, that's a different discussion, but
No, you're saying that he's going to steal. So you're sort of saying that what Akiva's saying.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's going to steal. The Ritva says he should loiv him or rob him, and if he should See, I'm not sure exactly what the case is, but yeah.
I think he'll borrow from whoever he can, and it's going to be the Adon's responsibility end of day to pay it back. It's going to cost the Adon more than he's worth. I don't think it's anything to do with Geneva or whatever. It's just going to cost him.
Right, I hear.
Maybe the Adon has an eved all-star basketball team, and he's making $1 million a year on this chevra. So you guys make up stories that you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. Well, maybe he's cooking the books with the Avodim because they're gamblers. Either way, the guy just texted back because I was he said they're trying to give him $10,000 present to get him to stop gambling, not to pay back his debts.
Not sure I would trust him.
That's totally moronic.
It sounds like
Not
it.
sure I
Right?
go for that.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot better worthy causes out there. You just tell him that.
Yeah,
That sounds like a worthy cause.
Yeah, I would think so. I had somebody today who wanted to give $1,000 to a goyish friend of ours who needs help. I said, you can give epis, but I $1,000. I'm saying, I said, you got millions of Yidden out there that need money. What do you see? You want to show epis a token of fine, but $1,000. All right, whatever. Anyways, so let's get back to yours. So Toshma, so again, the kubustus and machloik is what that is. So higiu, I'm sorry. So higiu, the Tanakama says higiu. It's like higiu means he deserves it. It's coming to him, meaning he got what he got, right? Because that's to be expected. A slave is not usually the upper echelons of society. Lista Mazuyan, but if the slave isn't Lista Mazuyan, which means an armed robber, right? So what's wrong with an armed robber? So the Rashbam says, well, he's going to end up getting killed. So you're getting ripped off. Meaning, it sounds like from the Rashbam, okay, so you got an Eved who's a killer. Okay, sure, he could still work. But if he's an armed robber, he's probably going to get killed. So the guy could say, I don't want a guy that's going to be dead in a couple of weeks. Or he's written to the government, meaning that he's on death row. So then that's not normal. So there he could say it's yours, meaning take back your eved, and the sale is voided. Right, so that's a machlokes. So Reisha onto today's daf now. Reisha, my timer. Why? What's the Reisha? Why is the mechira still a good? Why is it a good sale in the Reisha? Lamashum deruba hachiyasnu. Isn't it because the majority of slaves are crooks, or they're kidnappers, or they're gamblers, whichever way it is. Meaning that's was to be expected. So if that's the case, you go with Roy, right? So it's a raya to Rav. So we say Loi, Kulu Hachiyasnu, it's not Roy. Every single one of them is like that. So there's nothing the buyer cannot say, oh, he's a crook or he's a kidnapper. He can't say it because every single Eved is expected to be like that. So therefore, it's not a Roy. We're not going with Roy. It's the every single one. Okay, fine.
There's so much talk about Avadim. They're all thieves or robbers. They're all robbers or kidnappers, and everybody had a slave. Everybody had to deal with that.
It seems like it, yeah. Almost, okay. You're wondering why would you have an Eved for? Why is it worth the headache to have these people running around?
Yeah, and it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not saying it's a row. We're saying every single one, and everyone had to deal with that, and they were, yeah.
Seems like that, yeah. I'm assuming we're talking about Eved Knani here, right? Right, that's what I think.
You have to be.
What do you mean?
If someone who's Mechuyev Misa, a Yid, would not be sold as an Eved, he'd be killed.
Right. Yeah, so okay, whatever it is. So that's we slugged it up and we said we wanted to make a raya from Rav, and now we say Kula. Fine. So Tashima. Sure, next. This is the from the more famous cases in Shas. Shor shenogach apara. You have a shor that gored a para v'nimtza over betzida, and you find the fetus next to it. Veina yedeya im achalei nagcha yelda. We don't know if. Meaning, so now the question is, it was gored. That's for sure. The question is, did that goring cause this miscarriage or not? Maybe it miscarried naturally, or maybe it miscarried because of the gourd. If it miscarried naturally, so the owner of the ox that gored is not responsible for the miscarriage. He is responsible for the mother, right? So whether it happened before, in which case he's potter, or it gave birth after, and then he is chayiv. So what's the din? Mishalim chatzi nezek lepara. He pays chatzi nezek to the para because we're talking about a short tam. So he pays half the damages for the mother. And revia levlad, he pays a quarter for the vad. Why a quarter? Because this is going according to Sumchus. who holds mammon amutal b'safik, you split. So this is money that's in a suffix. The most he would have to pay is half. So therefore he pays a quarter. Now, okay, so what's the raya of mamai lema halach acharoi paras? Why don't we go after most paras? For roi paras misavras v'yolos. Most paras do not miscarry. Right? V'havadai machmas negicha pila. So it's vadai that it must have miscarried because of the goring. Right? So this is a kasha on Rav. Meaning, we're saying, I don't know, I guess, I mean, the Gemara is saying that most roiv animals don't have miscarriages. I guess it's true, right? And I guess, meaning it's l'chayra, roiv are not miscarriages.
But this animal had a miscarriage.
It had, but the shaila did it have it because it was gored.
So why would you say because it's gored? Because the roiv is the... But this one had a miscarriage.
It had a right.
So maybe the airplane broke the sound barrier. It had a miscarriage. What do you know? Why do you say it's from the goring? You know the way,
yeah, that's true. That's that, but isn't that the shaila?
Most animals who have miscarriages don't have it from goring.
Right. So that's exactly what the Gemara is saying. I think that the Gemara is saying. So we go. Why? Well, the Gemara is asking. Why don't we go with the Gemara is saying that he has to pay half? Why does he have to pay half? He shouldn't have. He should not have to pay anything.
No, you should have to pay whole thing.
He should have to pay the whole thing. I'm sorry. He should have to pay.
Because you have a roiv telling you that it would have given birth.
Correct.
This animal.
The right. The roiv.
But you don't know you don't know the miscarriages from his animal. How do you know that?
Miscarriage is a miyut.
How do you know his animal caused it?
Because no, but you still know Rabbanan saying it's good. That tells us that this animal didn't miscarry from naturally. But who says that the animal
miscarried? We don't know how it miscarried. How do we know?
Right. See, Rabbanan saying you don't. How do you know to take it to the next step?
Yeah.
Meaning you have a proof that it doesn't miscarry by itself. Fine, right. So it miscarry. But how do you know this animal did it? Maybe a different animal came and did it. That's what he's saying, which is really the next Gemara.
Forget this case in the Gemara, Yaakov. An animal in the guy's farm miscarried. So she miscarried. So she's not part of the roiv that does not miscarry. She's part of the meat that miscarried. She miscarried, no? So you have to find out, if you're interested, find out why. In this case, you have to try to find out why, because it's minigay, somebody else's money. Otherwise, the farmer doesn't have. What does the farmer have to find out for? The animal miscarried, no?
Oh, now I don't understand. Yeah, go, Gershon, sorry.
Here's the Gemara saying, in a case like where you come and you see that the animal miscarried, we now know that animal is not from the road.
Right.
We don't have a right to deal with. Here we can still say this animal is from the road.
Why?
This animal is not a miscarrying cow.
I just had a miscarry, no?
No, it was gored. That's not a miscarriage.
That's not true.
If I can say it's part of the road.
We're not talking about the goring. We're talking about she had a miscarriage. This cow.
No,
that's what we're talking about.
There's a dead calf there. We don't know if it's a miscarriage or the calf was also part of the goring. That's not a miscarriage. That's being gored. So here we can say this animal's still part of the roiv. It's not a miscarrying thing, and it gored the cow and the calf. It can fit into the roiv. If I come to a field and I find that a miscarriage has happened, I now know that cow is from the meal. It's not from the roiv. But here I don't have a reason to say that it's from the meal. It's from the roiv. It didn't miscarry. This bull gored it. That's why this calf is dead, not because it was miscarried.
Well, yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Gershon. I don't know if I agree with you, but I definitely hear what you're saying.
It's a big step in the right direction. That's what I'm going to say.
Must be before Rosh Hashanah.
Right.
I hear, but maybe in the next case, it's going to get
Well,
more.
my
confusing.
first step was I didn't lose $10,000 betting tonight, so that was my good step.
Rav Aaron, the Giants are still playing the Cowboys. It's the night is
I
young.
I can still bet.
Yes, and especially now you can bet on every
Right,
last
you
thing.
bet
Right?
on everything.
Yeah, you can bet on how many timeouts they're going to call in the last 2 minutes. Anyway,
Careful, it's on very much delayed, Jacob. You don't want to be betting in real time when it's very much delayed tonight.
what means delayed?
It's if you're watching it on the TV, it's very delayed.
Is it real? So then you could really get the
you can lose a lot of money.
arbitrage.
In real time, you're losing a lot of money.
What's that? Are you watching it while you're doing the daf?
Not at all.
Okay.
This is what I heard earlier today. This you can hear on the radio. They talk about that's all they talk about. It's betting. It's one amazing. Big gambling situation now.
It's crazy. It's mamish crazy. Anyways, so the Gemara's kasha is, so why don't we just go basa roiv and he should be chayiv? Elamai. We don't go basa. We don't go with roiv. So Gemara answers we're 9 lines down from the top. Hasam, Mishum de Mesapkalon. There we have a suffix, meaning we don't know how it gored. Meaning the ikalamemar mikama also. Maybe it gored in the front, right? Maybe a susa pila, and the reason why it miscarried is because it got scared. Okay, and why you're not chayiv? Reb Aaron's favorite halacha, because of good old grandma. Right? Once, right? It's only a grumma. You scared the cow miscarried, you're not chayiv. It's a grumma. Right? So we don't know, maybe that's the way it miscarried. Or maybe it came from the back. And it gored and it was mapil. Habi maman amulta besafik, v'chol maman amulta besafik chalkin. So mamela it's maman amulta besafik, and it's chalkin, meaning not the reason in the kasha we thought that it's maman amulta besafik because we don't know if it miscarried before the goring or after the goring. Now we're saying no, that's not the suffix. That if that would be the suffix, we would go with the majority and the guy would be chayav. The suffix is we don't know if the goring is what caused the miscarriage, which is sort of what Rabban is saying, Gershon. You can't prove that the goring caused the miscarriage, right?
No, it's the opposite. We're going the other way. We now can prove that the goring caused the miscarriage. The question is whether the goring was a grumma or not a grumma.
Right? It's saying that's an extension of what Rabban was trying to say, that who's just because you want to put the goring on it.
This cow is definitely part of the roiv. We're not arguing. This is definitely part of the roiv.
We're not dealing with that roiv. That roiv is done with. That's not the shayla.
Because we're sure it's definitely part of the roiv. It's not negay as the roiv.
Correct. But the reason why we can't be mechayev him fully is because we don't know if this cow, this ox, caused the miscarriage in a halachic way to be mechayev him. Right?
Right. Okay. In that sense. Yeah. The
so
other way would be fakir.
Right.
If you just found it there and there's no ox there.
Yeah.
It would be,
Okay, so why don't we say it's right the other way?
So scaring somebody is a grumma?
Scaring somebody is a grumma, yes.
So half the mafia extortionists are not chayiv. They don't do anything to somebody, just scare him into paying. They said they're going to throw him out of a window if he doesn't give them $1,000. They don't throw him out the window. He gives them $1,000.
Yeah, but there could be the taking of the money is a geneva because they're not interested. It's sort of like with gambling, the taking of the money, right?
This is my question about tell you of his oven. But here it's even worse. Here it's an animal that's gairim, not even a human. I mean, if a human's gairim, you can handle. Is it a grumma? Is it not a grumma? Here it's the ox that caused the cow to miscarry. That's definitely less than a grumma.
Right. I hear. Somebody asked me another gambling shaila today or last night. If he lost the bet and the loser has to get a pedicure. So can he get out of that? Can he get out of that, or is I don't know? Is that considered stealing?
He's like a goof. Send his wife.
Maybe I don't know.
What, a man can't
I
get
hope he's
pedicure?
not married. The guy, but
A man can't get a
man
pedicure?
can get. Well, that's he was sort of pining that maybe a man can't get a pedicure. A man could get a pedicure. I told him, nope, sorry, I don't see any Geneva. I don't see any Geneva to that. You lost the bet, man.
Definitely, it's not boring shilas. Definitely keeps you on your toes.
It's good that the island's doing tshuva and before Rosh Hashanah.
David, I
Yaakov,
didn't know
why
you were going that way. You're making puns about pedicures. Keeps you on your toes.
Ah, very good, very good. Yeah. Okay, weiter.
It's Yaakov. Why don't we say that this is almost sounds like a Svex Veka case, and it seems like there's still rife scenarios. If you hold Svex Veka as out rife, there's still rife scenarios here that you'd be mechayiv Chati Nezik and not Revia Nezik.
Why you want to say Svex Veka?
It's and if you hold Svex Veka as a din of rife, there's rife scenarios here that you'd be mechayiv Chati Nezik and not Revia Nezik.
I hear. I don't know. I don't even know if I can go down that road.
Why? In the Maskana, you mean?
Most scenarios here say you're going to be mechayiv.
No, the Maskana is Chatzi.
No, the din is for the Vlad. It's Revia. What do you mean?
Yes, because it's a short tam. So
I understand. Why aren't you
Chati
chayiv Chati Nezek? Rive case, according to Rav, who holds Rive, you go Basra Rive. Rive scenarios
There is
here
no
say you're
Roy
chayiv
here. That's
Chati
the
Nezek.
point. There is no Roy. We saw the ox gore. We know that it came after that.
No, we
The
don't.
question is,
Okay,
that's
we
what it's
got.
saying. There are only two cases. There is only two possibilities.
Okay, listen. Let's keep going because if we're going at this pace, and with the next case is really something. I got saw a statistic based on the next case because the government is so crazy with how they try cases. I think there were 200 people killed on death row that were put to death that after they were killed, they came out that they were innocent with DNA or something like some crazy statistic like that, because we base it all on circumstantial. They're like a lot of officially it's not supposed to be, but like in this next case here, who would ever say that they should be innocent? Let's see. Right? If you have a shor that was roya, it was grazing. And there's a shor laying next to it dead. Even though this, we see that it was gored, right? I guess you're able to, the forensic whatever tells you that it was gored. And the shor next to it was a muad, right? Or zemen nushach, or it was bit. V'zem muad lishach, and the animal that's right next to it is a muad lishach. So who in the world would not say guilty, right? So the Tanakhama says, "Ein oimrim b'yadua shezen nakha v'zen nash." We don't say, "Oh, since we know this shor standing right next to it is a muad, or it's muad for biting, and therefore the guy is potter." At least according to the Tanakhama. Ravacha disagrees. He says, "Gomalo ucher ben agamalim." You have a camel that's ucher ben agamalim, meaning it means it's mating with other camels. And it normally, when it's mating, it goes nuts. And you find a gomel that's dead next to it. So we know for sure that this is the one that killed it, and you kill him. So Ravacha sort of is like the American judicial system. Tanakama is not. Right? And Ravacha in the Tanakama's case is going to say for sure, right? That it's if the guy is actually a shor nagach, then for sure. Right. And yeah, so Lamaisa, and we paskin that he's not chayv. Either way, but that's a machlokes. Now, what's the pshat in this machlokes? Meaning, again, it's a machlokes whether circumstantial evidence works. Tanakama says it does not work. I don't know if this is called circumstantial evidence. I don't know. Ben, I don't know. You could figure this out. But meaning it's like 1 + 1 = 2. There's a dead shard that was gored, and you have an animal that gores next to it, right? So Tanakama says it's not enough evidence, and Ravacha says it is enough evidence. Okay, what's the machlokes based on? So the assumption is that, because here you don't have roiv, here it's a chazaka, meaning this animal has a chazaka that it gores, or it has a chazaka that it bites. So savruah the ruba v'chazaka ki adadininu. We thought that the roiv and the chazaka are the same. Lema Rav Domaka Rav Acha. So let's say that Rav holds like Rav Acha, because the chazaka and the roiv is the same. V'shmuel Domaka Tanakama. Shmuel goes like the Tanakama, that just like we don't care about roiv by mammon, we don't care about chazaka by mammon. So l'chara we found a machlokes tanaim. So Amalach Rav will say back, no, no, Damri afilu Tanakama. I could go even according to the Tanakama. Tanakama hasam el delayazin basa chazaka. Tanakama holds you don't go with chazaka. Our basa ruba haslinon, but we would go with roiv. Meaning, so basically what they're saying is that roiv is stronger than chazaka. Right? And now if we were in yeshiva, we would spend the next 2 months on this, or on this type of concept, right? Saying, is roiv better than chazaka? What is a chazaka? What's pshat and roiv, etc., etc. Shmuel Amar Lach, Anod Amri Afilu Rav Acha. I can even go according to Rav Acha. Ad kan lo yikam Rav Acha hasam el dazina basa chazaka. Rav Acha says you go with a chazaka. These animals have a chazaka that they're killers. To who gufei muchsuk? Oh, because there it gets into more lumdus there, because there the animal itself has a chazaka that it's a damager or a killer. Avabasa ruba layazlina. But we don't go with a roiv, which is not case specific. Right? Chazaka here, we're talking about case specific. This animal that's found next to the dead animal that was clearly gored, and we know that the animal is a gorer. So that's enough, because there's a chazaka based on what's going on right here in front of us. But to go say that we paskin that somebody has to be is chayiv money based on the majority of animals in the world, that we're not going to do. Right? Meaning, is it case specific or is it just a basic rule? So that would be the difference. Okay, so Toshima, another raya from Rav. Now we get to our Mishnah. How we got into this whole machlokes in the first place. If somebody sold pears to his friend Bizaron and his friend planted and when they didn't grow, even if it's flax or right, even it's flax, even flax, he's not chayiv. What does that mean? Maya afilu. What does it mean? Even flax. Lav afilu zera pishton. Is it not talking about that even if he planted pishton? The ruba lazriya zami, because most pishton is meant to be planted. But and we still don't go with the roiv. Meaning, what does the Mishnah mean when it says that if the things didn't grow, the fruits didn't grow, he's potter, right? He does not. It's not a mekach tois, and it says even flax. So pshat is even flax because most flax gets sold to plant. Okay, so why don't we say go basa roiv? So kasha on Rav. So now the Gemara says it's a kasha on Rav, but it's a machlokes tanoim, and therefore since a machlokes tanoim, Rav can go like the Tana that disagrees with our Mishnah. Why? The Tanya Amoicha Peres Chavera guy sold Peres to his friend Vizaron, and they planted the Veloit Samchon, they didn't grow. If it's seeds that are not edible, he's chayav in nachrayis because those seeds are meant for planting, and if they didn't grow, so then he sold them a bad product. Zera pishton. But if it was pishton, he's not chayiv in nachrayis. Why? Because you have to say that we don't go with roiv, and some people do eat flax. So since some people do eat flax, he's not chayiv in nachrayis. So that's a Tanakama. Rabbi Yosi says on Talmud Beis now noisen loy demei zera. He has to pay for the demei zera, right? Which means that he goes basa roiv, and the guy, since the majority of the fruit or the seeds is meant to be planted, so then that's it. So he's chayev. Amruloi, they told him back. But many people take flax and use it for other things. So Mamela, he doesn't get his money back. So there's 3 shitas here. The first shita certainly doesn't go with roiv. The second shita certainly does go with roiv. What's this last shita? Right? So we'll see the Gemara Vayta will explain it. So man Tanoi, who is the Machloikas Tanoi? Elim Rabbi Yossi Amrulai, if it's Rabbi Yossi in the Amrulai, Tavayo Basaruba Azli, they're both going with the Rive, right? Rabbi Yossi says he has to give back the money because most people use flax for planting, and the Amrulai also says we go that there's many people he goes Basra Rive of people. Let's just read it first and we'll explain it. Right, again, Mantana Elim Rabbi Yossi Amrulai, if it's Rabbi Yossi Tabayo Basaruba, they're both going with the Rive. Mar Azal Basaruba the Inchi. One is going Basra the Rive of people, meaning the Amrulai is going with the Rive of people. Mar Azal Basaruba the Zriya. And the other Shita, Rabbi Yossi, is going with the what do most plants do? Now, this is really, you can get into, if you're into statistics of sports or baseball or gambling maybe, so you can understand the difference, meaning there's two rives that we have going on here. Rive flax gets planted. That's without a question. But rive people don't plant flax. Meaning, most people take a small amount of flax and they'll use it to eat it, or I don't know what else they use for their clothing. I don't know, they make shatnez, whatever it is. But the majority of flax gets sold to farmers who plant it. Right? Meaning, if you go with the majority of flax and a chanami, it gets planted. But the more people, if you go with the majority of people, most people are not buying it because most people are not flax farmers. Most people will buy flax here and there. So if you go with the majority of people, this guy didn't rip him off because he can assume he was from the majority and the majority is not planting. But if you go with the majority of flax, then he is responsible because the majority.
What are they doing with all this flax if everybody's just planting it? Like the United States government gives out subsidies to just plant and let it go to garbage.
Yeah, what I mean, somebody who's the end user, you're saying?
Hey, both of them are all planting it, and everybody's planting it. And nobody's really, what are they doing with it?
No,
they use the thread that comes out of the plant.
Right.
That's why
meaning the plant seed gets planted, right? And hopefully that seed turns into something viable. Right? So again, that's an interesting thing. Do you go bust the rive of the flax, in which case it's meant to be planted, or do you go with more rive of the people that use the flax or use the seeds and rive of people? Because let's say, I mean, you can mamish get stuck on this for a long time, meaning you get one buyer of all the flax, right? There's one buyer, he buys it all for his flax farm. But Lamaisa, there's 10 people that buy flax because they mix it in with their coffee or something. So if you go with that, rive of the people, if you go with people, the majority of people are not planting it. If you go with the flax, the majority of people are. The majority of flax is. So that's my
why wouldn't you now look at the size of the sale?
I mean, why don't you just analyze and say how much did he buy? Very good, Taka.
If he bought 15 fields worth of flax, he's not buying it to eat.
Taka, that's I didn't see anybody ask that kasha. Not that I looked around. That's a good kasha, I think. I'm just because I think it's a good kasha. I don't know, but I don't know what does the Olam say. I like that.
Unless there are tailors who like growing their own, so they only grow small amounts. They can also buy a small amount.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good kasha. Okay, so then it can't be Rabbi Yossi and the Amrulai because they're saying the same thing. They're just arguing about what rive is, but they both hold you go with rive. Eli Tanakama Rabbi Yossi, Tanakama Amrulai. It's either the Tanakama against Rabbi Yossi or the Tanakama against the Amrulai. Okay, so the Machlekes Rav and Shmuel is a Machlekes Tanoim.
Comes out as shtickle shitasam. Rav goes according to Rav Deis and Shmuel doesn't.
I don't know. See, that's in the Machlokes Tanoim. I don't know if that's in the Machlokes Rav and Shmuel.
That's what I'm saying. Rav goes with the Rav always. Shmuel doesn't. Rav is going with the Rav Tanoim. He's functioning like the Rav here also.
Okay, I hear that.
But Yaakov, who says that? Who says that? I mean, who says that the Amrullah is necessarily saying like Rob? They just don't necessarily say like Shmuel. The Amrullah that says that, oh no, you're gonna go bust the other Rive. They're saying that your Rive is not a good Rive. This is a better Rive. Therefore, you have no Rive to be mighty Mammon, and it's gone. Meaning, is the proof the fact that if they didn't have this Rive, they'd be masking to the Tanakh to Rabbi Yossi?
Why not?
That's just saying. Otherwise, why would they bring up that time?
Yeah, Kiva, 60% of the Umrlos in Shas go according to one of the sheet, not to a sheet that we don't know about.
Yeah, well, okay, I hear. That's it would continue, right? Yeah, okay, so let's see. So Tan Rabbanan. Mahu nice and low. Meaning, if you go with the sheet that holds, he has to give back. So what does he give back? Right? To Meizera, does he give back just the seed? Meaning, if you hold, right, that you have to go and the seller has to pay back. So he's just giving back the Meizera v'loy haitzah and not the expenses, because the guy could say to him, hey, I had to plow, I had to do this, I had to do that, and you messed me up. I did it for defective seeds.
Why isn't that a grumma?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know. No, that's why he holds. I mean, that's why the Shita holds not.
Right, I understand, but the Gemara has said that you would be Mechayv. No?
Oh, so right. So the Rashbam answers that it's a knas. It's a knas. Right?
Meaning, can you prove he knew it? It would only be a knas if he knew it, no?
So that's a question. That's going to be tomorrow's daf, Bez Hashem, or Shabbos's daf. One of the two is about whether you knas a guy if he messed up or not. But yeah, but we're learning is that's knas. Okay, so that's a machlokes, whether he's responsible for other expenses too. So man yeshomer, Amarav Chisar Rav Shimon Gamliel, it's Rav Shimon Gamliel. So hey, Rav Shimon Gamliel, which Rav Shimon Gamliel? Elam Rav Shimon Gamliel the Masnisen is it Rav Shimon Gamliel this Mishnah the Tanana Meicher Peres Lechavere. Bizaron v'loy tzamchu v'afilu zera pishtan einachai b'achriyusan. Right, and then the Seifa. The Marshal bails us out of 3 lines of Gemara here. He doesn't like this next line. That's why it's in parentheses. So then we'll skip that. So Ema Sefer of Shimon Gamliel Oimer Zeroy Negina She'ena Necholen Chayev Achar Yusa. Right. So seeds from a garden that are not normally eaten, you're chayev in the achrayis. Why? Because since they're not edible, so then mustama they're meant to be planted. So if that's the case, but it can't only be. So you see, Rav Shimon Gamliel holds. You're chayiv in the achrayis. So Tanakama nami hachi kamar, but the Tanakama is saying the same thing. Meaning it's not a machlokes Tanakama Shimon Gamliel zera pishnan hu dein chayiv achrayusa, because maybe it's the flax that he's not chayiv in the achrayis. Hazerai negina she'ena nechalin, but seeds that are not normally eaten chayiv achrayusa are chayiv. Right? So elalav, meaning so they're not arguing about flax. Elalav hoitza ikabenayu. Right, the haitzah is the difference between the Tanakama Shimon Gamliel. Marsavar Meizera. The Tanakama holds he has to pay him back for, meaning for Zerai Negina, not edible seeds that are meant to be planted. So he must hold. Tanakama holds that you pay back the cost of the seeds. Umar Savar Af Haitzah. And Shimon Gamliel will say even Haitzah. So the problem is though, who says who holds what? How do you know it's Rav Shimon Gamliel is the one that says that you pay the expenses? Maybe it's the Tanakama, which is the Gemara's kasha. Maybe fakert, right? Maybe it's the opposite. That maybe it's Tanakama holds. You pay that. So Gemara answers halay kasha kol tana basra l'tfuye milsa ka'asi. Usually when there's the second tana is coming to add on to the first tana. So since the second tana is coming to add on to the first, so must be Rav Shimon Gamliel is adding on to the Tanakama. Tanakama holds the seller is responsible for the seeds, and Rav Shimon Gamliel is coming along and saying not only is he responsible for the seeds, but we're going to give him a knas, and we're going to be mechayev him for the expenses that the guy wasted planting non-viable seeds. So I think says, well, maybe Vidilma Kula Rav Shimon Gamliel, maybe The whole Mishnah is Shitas from Shimon Gamliel. The Chesura Mechzer Rachik Tani. There's something missing from the Mishnah. Hamaycha Peres L'Chaveir Bezorim V'Loit Tzamcha. If a guy sells pears to his friend and he plants them and they didn't grow, afilu zera pishton ein chayav achriyusa. Maybe we'll stick that in. Even zera pishton is not chayav in achrayus. Divrei Rav Shimon Gamliel. Sherev Shimon Gamliel. Zerayin again. We're skipping the parentheses. Zerayin gina she'ein necholon chayav achriyusa. So maybe the whole Mishnah is Rav Shimon Gamliel. Right, and Mamela, the Mishnah is not talking about paying the expenses and not talking about the Hitzah. It's it's just talking about the actual seeds. So we have no proof that Rosh Gamliel holds the seeds. Ella.
This is l'chayra raya to what you've said many times before about there being a niggin to the Mishnah. You never see Gemaras say, "Oh, ask a kasha that it should be a chesure machzera." Chesure machzera is a doichik answer here. What is going on? We're asking a kasha. Maybe it's a chesure machzera.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
The Shman points it out.
Yeah, Shpan.
I thought I saw it. Which Rashbam?
Yeah.
Where does he say it?
He doesn't say.
Oh, I was looking down too low. I was looking.
Yeah, he basically takes out
Sur
Masera.
We've had this kasha before, and the Gemara, I think, answered something what the Rashbam answered. No.
That's similar. I don't know if we've had Chesuri Machzor as a kasha. We've had similar ideas, yeah. But here, the fact that it's using this lashon Chesuri Machzor, it's the shtickle mashma, like the niggin thing.
Right. Okay, so Ella Rav Shimon Gamliel, the Tanya, it's Rav Shimon Gamliel. We learned in a brayza. If somebody gives his wheat to be ground up, and the guy didn't wet it, so I guess in the process of wheat, in order to grind it proper, you got to make it wet. So a guy takes his chitin to the grinder, and the guy, for whatever reason, didn't wet it, and it subin, and it became into bran, or bursan, I think is worse than bran, right? Whatever, there are types of bran. Kemach lenaftim, he gave his flour to the baker, va'afu pasni poilin, and he made it into pas that was psisin, Rashbam says, little crumbs, meaning whatever. I guess he made it into sourdough. No, I don't know. He made it into lousy bread. Behema l'tabach, and he gave the behema to shaychit v'nivla, and he made it into an avela, so chayiv. The guy is chayiv, meaning the person who was supposed to do a good job is chayiv, because he's like a noisisachar, it's like he's being paid. Which the Rashbam and the Tosfos both bring that in the Gemara Bava Kama, he's being paid, right? But if he would be a professional, right, and he was doing it as a taiva, then he would be potter. Okay, whatever it is. So again, if the guy botched the job, he's responsible. He has to pay, this worker has to pay the demay of the busha, meaning of the guy who hired him, and demay boishas of the guests too, because the host is embarrassed because his food is lousy, and the guests are embarrassed because they're hungry. So he's got to pay both. So you see clearly, Rav Shimon Gamliel holds that you have to pay the what's the word we're looking for? Not only the actual damage, you also have to pay the
associated expenses.
Associated, yeah, right. So you have to pay that. So clear, Rav Shimon Gamliel holds you have to pay these other things. I don't know what a minig gadol is. Right? Is that like when you say shkoyach gadol? Is that it's a minig gadol?
I think the Marsha asks, why is minig gadol? He's mechayiv because of dina de garmi. It's not minig.
Okay, but that's a different. Okay, I'm just saying what a minig gadol means. Right. Well, okay, garmi is also hard.
It's like a thing, Tiago.
That's it. Marsha saying, why is the Gemara bringing minag gadol, regular minag is no shaykhs to the whole thing?
Well, I mean, maybe the minhag is going on the busha of both parties. First, let's read the Gemara. If somebody gives over a suda to his friend, and the kilkala, and it gets ruined. Now, meiser also sounds like meiser for money or meiser as a present. It can't be a present. Why would the guy be chayev? Right, so meiser suda chaver kilkala. Nice and like demei bashta. He has to give his embarrassment to demei bashas archav and embarrassment for the guests. So you see that there is some sort of what do you say? It associated expenses. Yeah. So that whatever it is, that's Rav Shimon Gamliel who holds that. There was another minhag gadol. Mappa prusal gabi Pesach. If you take a mappa, if there was a shmata, if there was a flag, I guess, hanging by the door. So kolzman shemappa prusa. As long as this flag or this cloth was hanging by the door, archin nechnasim. Then the archin knew you can go in. It's an open door. Nistalka mappa, when they took away the mappa, ain't archin nechnasim. Then the archin would not go in. Meaning it was a what? It was basically a but fakert.
Disturb.
Here, right. This is I would have thought the opposite, right? Which is of course I would have thought when the thing is hanging, you could come in. When it's not hanging, don't come in. What?
No. That is what it is.
No, when it's hanging,
you shouldn't come.
Don't come in. That's what I would think, right? But it's not hanging, so then there's nothing on. The door's there. Okay, obviously that's not.
I think it's a privacy thing for the student. They want to eat in private. They want people to walk past in.
What's up by a hotel? What do? When you hang the sign on the door, it's do not disturb.
That means don't come in. Like you're thinking.
Right. That's where I'm.
It's the people who make up a time for Shalom Zachas when they start.
That's a good sush though. Yeah. Those are the same people that have speeches, but a Shalom Zach. Right?
Yes.
They also have a time when they end their barn. they're very macro.
Sure has it with the police.
They
hang something on his door.
Then they know.
Why they needs it coming.
Oh,
that's how it works.
I hear.
Jobs,
Anyways, okay,
what did he say, Naftali?
Nothing.
No, why? What's the problem?
Well, you're trying to bring a riot from Chicago? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, basically. Yes, basically. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so we'll stop over there. We got to the Mishnah? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
All right, okay, so let's say it. Tell him. Okay, Yud Gimel.